He's whiny.
Yeah, like he sounds like such a bitch. I think it's really funny that I saw a tweet a while ago that was basically saying by the end of this crypto cycle, the title of Biz Dev is going to be like scum, right? Like people are going to fucking hate anyone who identifies as Biz Dev, and if that's all you do, you have to find something else.
Yeah, that's why I got out of the Biz Dev business. I mean, it's a great gig though. It's the fucking greatest gig of all time. Being Biz Dev.
Yeah, but it is just like, what are you doing?
You
like,
party with people, and
what
then
are you doing?
You party with people, and then they like you enough, and then you create like contracts and shit like that to get them to use your company shit.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great, but you have to. The key there is partying with them so they like you. Because if you just message people, no one cares.
Yeah, you have to actually hang out with them. Which is
if you hang out with them,
and this sounds a little bit silly, but it is unironically fatiguing to party with crypto people for any extended period of time because the quantity of drugs that they do and the quantity of sleep that they don't get is allegedly massive.
Yes, it is massive. I mean, bro, if you see some of the Biz Dev guys, they're on a fucking rope. They're like a thread. That's what it is.
Right.
They're hanging on by a thread.
You're the sales guy who's it's like week 4 of your multi-city journey. You haven't been back home in ages. You haven't slept. You've been driving for 18 hours. You've been eating fucking like gas station hot dogs for
your children are like, "Mommy, where's Dad? I haven't seen him in forever."
Yeah,
is he ever coming home? And then you're just doing blow in a bathroom.
You're so far away. You're so far away from your fucking like your pharmacy that you can't even get prescriptions for Adderall anymore. And you've been living entirely off of those gas station Rhino dick pills that keep you up for like 48 hours.
Yeah, you're in the fucking you're in the bar asking people if they got an Adderall on them. A 5 mil, that's all you need. 5 milligrams, and I'll be set straight.
Yeah, you're like sucking cock for like 5 milligrams of Adderall IR.
Fuck yeah.
This is how all of the guys, whenever I go to, because you can really tell there's some guys who they're just made for it in the sense that they appear to not require any sort of health or sleep at all. And there's some guys who are like, yeah, that sounds fun. I'll do it. And like, they're just fuck it. They want to kill themselves by the end of a crypto convention. Like their eyes are sunken into their head. They've just got all sorts of weird like crusts and substances on their face. Their hair is going all over the place.
That was me when I was Biz Dev. Now I enjoy it though. I think I do a pretty decent job, but yeah, no, I was fucking fried every time I did a conference of any kind.
Yeah, it's just
I'm like sick at the end of it. I'm like, yeah, I haven't slept in 3 days and I'm sick.
It was stuff that I maybe could have done when I was like, I don't know, 18, 20, something like that.
22, 25, I would have killed that shit.
Yeah, and now I'm just like, brother, like, give me my 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, that's why I do a boring job now. Now I'm like, let me do 9 to 5 hours remotely, and I'll get you your docs, bro.
Let me make my nice videos for my little.
You make videos now?
Oh, we're doing videos now.
Oh, okay. You learned DaVinci?
I did not learn DaVinci. I haven't really uploaded anything. I've sort of been like all of the little crypto lore summaries we've been working on, and finally just tossing like anytime I'm in a conversation, I say anything interesting, we're just tossing it on a TikTok to test like which sorts of like how fast do we upload it, like what the engagement hook is.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to do some more lore.
It seems that it's really, really easy to get organic traction on TikTok as long as
their algorithm is
totally
great.
busted.
Their algorithm picks up topics in your video and then they send it to anyone. It has nothing to do with your followers. In fact, like I follow people and I never see their content. There's a followers tab, but like who cares? Yeah. The For You page is it will organically.
YouTube did that also. It was really annoying because when YouTube first switched this over and they didn't show you your subscribers anymore or the people you were subscribed to anymore, the algorithm sucked. Yes. So like they switched us over and the people that it showed us instead were just like, it was just like random unrelated people the whole time. And I was like, what the fuck is, and like the way that you would have to go back to look at your, like the people you were subscribed to was this bizarre, like convoluted labyrinth. It's just not fun.
It's a little bit better now. I feel like I
Yeah,
actually
no,
get good
everybody's
recommendations
algorithms across the board got better post TikTok. I don't know if what went on there was everybody copying TikTok or if it was just like everybody knew how to do it and they just never did because I don't know. There was maybe there was some sort of like financial incentive to not doing it. Like there were people who
now.
were
Well, they
promoting
were
their content.
incentivized definitely for ads and stuff. So they did not really give a fuck whether or not they were incentivized for ads and to keep you there. But then now TikTok has proven that the best way to just keep you there is to make the algorithm better.
Yeah,
Like they would like, for example, like Facebook used to show you stuff that you disagreed with, so you'd be mad and you start angrily like messaging it, whatever. Like
That's
they
so
all
funny.
had.
I love that they gave you an angry react. The fact that
Yes.
Facebook gave you an angry react was always one of the funniest things about the platform to me because that was like and it was this like bizarre, cute little angry face thing too. Like it was so adorable. The idea of some like seething like 60-year-old libtard getting mad about like some post, some post that this like turbo chud like fat 35-year-old posted. And she's just sitting there with the cute little angry react, like spamming it on every comment he makes. Like,
just like
yeah,
no, they tried to do that for Twitter. That was the fire react was supposed to be an angry react, but like no one fucking but no one uses that as the angry. They use it as like, oh, that shit's fire. That's like pure.
There's
boomer.
no way. There's absolutely no way any UI designer is dumb enough to think that the fire react would be used as an angry react.
Oh, bro, it's the autism, bro. It's the deep autism. It's in the exact spot where an angry react would normally be on any other platform. They put fire instead. I
don't know, dude. This,
you don't
like,
think
I'm
so?
willing,
this is my lore. This
dude,
is my own
I'm willing to
headcanon.
believe a lot of kooky shit, man.
This is my
headcanon. I fucking believe in astrology, man. I believe in like crystal healing. I don't think I believe in the fire react being intentionally made as an angry.
This is like level 3 of the Twitter iceberg. You just don't understand yet. The fucking the Twitter conspiracy iceberg.
Once we get down to the the layers beneath the Order of 9 Angels and shit like that.
Yeah, the Order of 9 Angels. Yeah. Bro, do you remember when we did that Paul Town podcast and he was just
I absolutely do. I absolutely do remember. That's exactly where that came from too.
The Order of 9 Angels. I miss Paul Town, dude.
I love Paul Town actually. I would love to have Paul Town on a podcast.
He already came on our podcast.
I said again. Yeah.
Oh, again. Yes. Yeah.
That should bring him funny. Back. We've been podcasting for so long, we could start regurgitating guests.
That's actually true because that episode is it's like our 4th episode, so it's deep down there. We could definitely bring him back.
He's just a great guy.
I know that Rune won't come back. Rune cannot come back, but
may have had a little bit of a run-in with his company over.
It's so funny too because Rune was saying like I think it was like 2 days ago or maybe like last week. He was just like, yeah, bro, I've said a lot of stuff on my account, and the only thing that's ever caused problems is your podcast. And I'm like, hey, listen.
And it wasn't even anything bad.
It wasn't even
anything bad. It was literally like it just some sort of deranged person like taking something. It wasn't even like out of context.
They took the opposite meaning. Like he was being like, it was like literally the thing he was saying was like an example of what you're not supposed to believe. And they just took the thing he said as like face value. It's out of context, but it's because they're stupid and they don't understand like abstraction.
When I heard it, I couldn't tell whether the person was being like intentionally bad faith to try and get him in trouble or if they like actually thought that. And my assumption was that they were like just bad faithing.
I'm not sure if at the time he says now that people just call him Rune at work, which is really funny. But I think at the time it was not confirmed that he was the Rune. But now he throws all those parties. He's fucking Mr. Mayor of San Francisco. So, that's how that thing goes.
Yeah, that period where nobody knew that Rune was really funny.
Yeah. Hey, classic. But, you can't stay anonymous for long. That's the problem. Once you get like 50K, I think. I mean, I'm already not anonymous.
I want to say it's probably somewhere around 10 to 20K where it starts being like there's like a way that you can still stay anon at that point, but like there's a good chance that some random lightning bolt is going to fly out of nowhere and crack and just you're going to be doxxed. But then every additional 10K you go past that is just like
it's more and more
it's impossible simple. Really.
Yeah.
And especially if you're doing meetups, like if you're doing meetups in any capacity and you don't expect to get doxxed, it's just
it's not going to happen. I think though it's I mean, at some point there's a tipping point where like it's basically your job anyway. Especially now that especially with Twitter like paying you out.
God,
Like,
that's so funny. I can't get over that.
yeah, once Twitter and then once you start getting money from YouTube, it's like, that's, and if we ever make a product of some sort, that some crypto product during the bull market, which we have to do, by the way, just because otherwise the podcast, we need to make it a thriving business. Then it becomes our full job anyway. So it's like, it doesn't really matter, I guess, if you know who I am.
Well, the main issue with getting doxxed is that, like, if you work a normal corporate job, they can threaten your income, right? Like, obviously there's inconveniences, right? Like, somebody can come to your house with like a shotgun or something like that and threaten to kill you. It's probably not going to happen. Not something that you like that seriously have to worry about. I guess it is on the table there. But most of what you have to worry about is just them threatening your employer. And so, like, for me, that really hasn't been an issue for,
Oh, yeah. Your employer is well aware of your shenanigans.
Right. Like, my employer is employing me specifically because of my shenanigans, right?
Yes.
So I can't, and like everyone that I deal with is dealing with me specifically because of my shenanigans. Nobody would ever be like, oh, like, yeah, wow, like Miss 230 follower, him with dyed hair. Like, I take your complaint super seriously, and I'm gonna be disbanding from Lukas immediately. Like, they would just laugh at you and call you like a retard or something.
Yeah, it's a nice perk of once you start to get the cloud shield, like that. More cloud shield, more money shield. That's all it is. We should.
And also, the other thing with meetups is, like, you go around and, like, what happens is you get the increased probability of dox. But, like, if you're a cool person and you go to meetups,
no one wants to dox
everybody
you.
Just likes you, right? And so it's
Simple
like,
as.
even if you get doxed, everyone will just be like, oh, that person who doxed you fucking sucks and we should kill them.
Yes,
right. Like
that I've noticed is I've experienced this where I've been very, very lax with the anonymity, and my name is very, very unique. So if you know my name, it's fucking over. Like, just my first name, it's done. Which is, my parents fucked up on that regard. They really should have gave me like they didn't understand the internet, obviously, but giving a unique first name is like death to anonymity. But yeah, people meet me, they learn my name, they're like, I don't know how to spell that anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. And you're pretty cool.
Call you Verse.
I'm just gonna call you Verse anyway. And you're pretty cool, so we're not gonna dox you.
And I sort of have a weird thing because, like, Lukas is just it's the greatest handle to meet everyone up with, right?
Yes, it is.
Because every other situation, like every other time I go and I meet people and they're telling me their handles, and it's just like, oh, like, hi, like, I'm breast milk enjoyer. Like, I mean, like, and that's a memorable one too. Like,
that's a very memorable
that's
one.
much better than the average internet handle, right? It'll just be like something like a Nardil or like
a Nardil too shorty. Yeah, like some fucking stupid shit. Yeah, here's the first thing you got to learn with handles. I made this mistake when I was young. Is making it. You got to make a handle that sounds plausibly like a name.
Yeah,
it has to have some kind of name ring to it, or can be shortened into a name. Otherwise, you're fucked. Because I used to have the same exact problem back in the day with my old meetups, with my like forums, and I was like, hey, I'm monkey rectum, so it's like,
it doesn't like roll off, and it'll always have like a fucking number after it too, right? It'll be like monkey rectum, like 1947.
Yeah, I was like, straight up monkey rectum. Actually, this was in 6th grade when we used to call each other our pseudonyms back in 6th grade. So I learned this lesson early, and I was like, monkey rectum. It's memorable. It's hilarious. When I'm 10 years old. But then I was like, and everyone's like, hey, monkey rectum, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be called monkey rectum. That's probably not ideal. And then I picked some like super convoluted bullshit after that. I'm like, this sounds cool as fuck. And it's like a lot of X's in it. Like, I'm Elon's
right,
son.
Exactly. Yeah, the Xbox gamer tag era. That was a big failure that many people of our generation had.
Yep.
I mean, I think my big failure was that I kept picking animals. And I kept picking animals with like long names that were unusual animals. Like, I was doing like weird, like soy, like quirk Reddit animals all the time, right? Like chinchillas and shit.
Chinchilla. And yeah. You don't need that.
Which fucking, like
Targarin, what is it?
I don't know. But it was weird predatory names that weren't like it was like a name that like I was either like the 12-year-old boy that I was, or I was like a 60-year-old who is preying on like a 12-year-old boy.
You don't want a name that sounds like you're trying to invite children to your place. I think that's exactly as a good rule of thumb. You want to stick away from,
even if you're a child, right? Like, even if you're a child, you should be LARPing as an adult.
Yes, very true. You want to stay away from Pokemon names as well.
Oh,
no Gengars. No fucking, that's pure pedo energy, bro. I like Pokemon, like, still. I mean, the games are kind of fun if I'm like sufficiently bored or whatever. So then I'll maybe, or like, even if I'm not playing the game, which I haven't, let's say, since it came out, I'll watch a video, something cool happens, like a new event, maybe something they drop is interesting. And then you're seeing like 40-year-old dudes with like, my name's Gengar 240. And I'm like, wow, this is so cringe. This is pure pedo bait.
Like the Smash community at this point, where
it's exactly like the Smash community.
Guaranteed to be, and it's like you don't always know the way that it's going to be bad stuff. You just know it's going to be bad stuff, right?
Absolutely. No, I've seen, like, I used to watch streamers play like modded Pokemon, and like 80-90% of them can't like drop their channel because of pedo shit. It's like, it's not a good precedent, bro. You might want to stay away.
Funny.
Unfortunate. Fun game though. Especially, it's a great game for like a 20-30 minute session. Drop a modded Pokemon game, you'll have a great time.
God, it's so funny though that there's always, like, anytime you have a community like that, there's going to be the one like non-binary, asexual, like totally, like they would never hurt a fly guy. But then it'll just be like an entire community surrounding them of like unironic, like pedophile rapists.
Yeah.
And like this one person is sitting there like getting more and more progressively hurt every time we make a joke about like every Pokemon community member being like a pedophile rapist. Like, it's not, and it's like, okay, like I get it. Like, and some of them maybe are good, right? Some of them,
not all Pokemon players are rapists.
Yeah.
Not all. But hey, listen, listen, I can't even talk too much about it because I do, like, again, I play the ROM sometimes. But, the YouTubers, the Pokemon YouTubers are probably all, I could say fairly confident they're all fucking pedos. It just seems even if it's 95%, that's too close, bro.
I wonder if it's like, okay, so the thing with teachers, right? Where teachers are just like if you're going to talk about like the concentration of pedophiles per profession,
yeah, teachers are high.
Teachers are like, and people always, the Catholic Church, like the Catholic Church.
Nah, teachers blow them out of the water.
Teachers, it's something ridiculous, like 5 to 10 times higher rates of pedophilia in.
It's probably the proximity. I can't determine.
This is what I was wondering. Is it like, is it a chicken or is it an egg thing?
I think it was probably originally, I don't know which one's the egg, but I think the proximity was probably the original impetus. And then as, more people start to see these events occur, they go, oh, duh, I should be a teacher. What am I doing? Why would I not be a teacher? And then, but, it's one of those things. I think teaching is a very honorable profession. I used to be a teacher. I'm just saying, there's a lot of pedos in there.
I do think it's really funny to, because I now have for a while had like preschool teacher at Ramelia in my bio. And
Please no.
And something really funny about that is like a bunch of actual teachers have reached out and been like, hey, Lucas, I'm a teacher too. And I'm like, oh no, like I can't explain the joke, like, right. But I always do. There's a part of me that wants to fuck with them, right? And be like, oh, you're a teacher? Like, what made you decide, like, my one goal in life is to spend every waking minute around a bunch of prepubescent children? Like, well, right? Like, obviously, like, somebody has to teach these kids, right? We have to teach these kids. But it just seems like such an easy button to poke, especially given the statistics, and just like say, hey,
I'm just saying,
a lot of these public school teachers, like, I'm not saying you're one of the bad ones, man, but you're on the internet. I don't know you, man. I don't know anyone vouching for you. All I'm going to say is I'm like,
Listen, of all the teachers I've met, most of them are not online, and they shouldn't be online ever. That's usually a bad sign.
That is actually so true. All of the high school teachers I had who were just like insane freaks were the ones who had like an online presence.
Yeah, you don't want that. You want a teacher who has basically never touched a computer. I think largely. Oh shit. 1 second. My computer is dying. But yeah, you want a teacher that's largely never touched a computer ever, and you want a teacher that, like, you want to stay away from the young girl teachers because they
They are too fresh out of college.
They're a little
man.
too fresh out of college.
They do not understand how any shit works.
Bro, I remember being a teacher and like the amount of like 22-year-old teachers that are teaching high school, and they have to hide their age, obviously, because they're so close in age to the kids.
Yes. Yeah.
And like they, you know, like the kids know you're close in age, but they don't know exactly how close. Because that, like, how much you like mature in college is like very notable. But like the teachers know that they're only a few years older than the kids. They're like,
yeah.
You know, and that gets a little bit weird. All right, you hold them for a second while I get a charger.
Hold them. Okay.
Yeah, like talk. Yeah.
Should I talk about? Dude, I don't. This was
talk about
actually,
whatever. One second.
Okay, go for it. So yeah. Anyway, actually, my story about the young teacher. I had one of these in like fourth grade or something, and she was apparently really hot. I guess I was one of the few guys who hadn't started or gone through puberty at all during this period. So basically, every class that we had with this girl, she taught like social studies or something. Everybody was constantly talking about her tits and how big her tits were. And they were always trying to like drop shit and like get her to bend over in like super like Scooby-Doo ways, right? Like just these ridiculous, wacky hijinks that these like fourth grade boys were going up to try and like sneak upskirt peeks at this teacher. And I just like didn't fucking get it at all. And I had no idea what they were doing or like trying to accomplish. I didn't fundamentally understand sexuality. And so like they would say like her boobs are big, and I didn't understand like what that signified, right? I was like, physically, I do understand that she has these things that appear to be larger than on other women. But you know, that thing, that part of your brain that tells you like, oh, but that's good. Like it didn't exist yet. So,
yeah.
So I was just sitting there in every class, and all these guys, and they wound up basically getting me to be like a participant in a lot of their hijinks because the teacher realized that I like didn't know what was going on. And so like I could get away with like a lot as like an accomplice. So people started like passing the baton off to me. So I started and then eventually I realized that they were trying to like they were trying to use me to accomplish some sort of like nefarious means. And I was like, I'm worried about like, what if this is dangerous or something, you know, because they weren't telling me what they wanted me to, like what the goal was or why they wanted it. Right. I was just like, it seems they're trying to manipulate me into some behavior, and I don't know what that is.
You're the naive child. Yeah. Bro, actually, speaking of, I've seen the opposite. Well, you're a little bit special case because you're not actually dumb, but I saw this happen.
Theoretically. I mean, I spent all of fourth grade getting tricked into trying to get some woman to like show the class her tits without realizing it.
Oh, based? No. When I was a teacher, when I taught high school, I taught like a couple grades. I taught ninth grade. And this kid, I taught a special ed class, and like, it's special ed's weird to teach because it's like not all actually like kids who are special ed. Some of them are behavior, some of them are like low IQ, some of them are just like whatever, right? And this one kid who they give you the IQ scores of every kid. It's like in their file. And there's one kid who had like a veritable 80 IQ, like just enough to like it, which is very strange because like I actually wouldn't have known that he was dumb. I know he wasn't that bright, but like you can't really tell how dumb someone is sometimes.
That's fine.
And he got expelled because like this is when like a bunch of like the really shitty kids in the special ed class, they started doing the knockout game in New York City, and they were like have him record them while they were playing the knockout game and like send it to people on Snapchat, which is stupid.
So they were getting like the literal retard guy to be like the cameraman.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then like they convinced him as like
one of the guy who's screaming world star in all the videos.
Effectively, yeah. And then they convinced him for one of the last videos to do it. And we all felt like as the teachers, we had to expel them all, obviously, right? But I was like, a few of us were like, bro, he literally is too dumb to like talk himself out of the situation. Like the kid knew he wasn't supposed to do it, but he like is like
he was trapped. Like he was socially trapped.
Yeah.
There was
and they're like, you know,
like he had no rhetorical tools at his disposal to do anything about this, and it was going to proceed on rails in this specific way.
Exactly.
Without, like he had no agency over the situation.
Yeah, the kid, you know, when you're 100 IQ hanging out with like 80 IQ kid, like you're a fucking super genius. He literally can't like get himself out of the situation. So we felt really bad. They expelled him too. I think they only suspended him and they brought him back later. But I was just like, oh my God, this is how it happens in life. If you get trapped by fucking the relative genius, that's what people don't talk about, relative genius.
Well, and the other thing with that is like, is there actually a functional difference between the kid who does a bunch of like evil shit because he's evil, or the kid who's so retarded that evil people just predate upon him and convince him to do it?
That's a good point. There's not much of a difference. I mean, a lot of the evil people are also retarded. Like so, a lot of psychopaths, even though they get the rep as being like super smart manipulators, a lot of them are.
I mean, that's the
dumb.
psychopath sociopath meme. Like the psychopaths are the ones who just have such low impulse control that they like freak out and do violence. And like the sociopaths are generally like controlled planners, right? Like that's the meme.
Yeah.
And you know, like what is the main thing that across the board gets gained with IQ is impulse control.
Yeah. So it's effectively the same thing, right? The only thing that changes makes you a sociopath is like not being like clinically retarded. So I don't know. It's a interesting thing that is.
I got into a similar and slightly tangential, but maybe a little bit related discussion with a bunch of OnlyFans workers because of that tweet. Every single time Ansem retweets me, I get a bunch of sex workers fucking pissed off at me. Like it doesn't matter what I'm saying, it always happens. It's just absolutely guaranteed. But I basically said that actually at this point in history, like gold digging is a lot more respectable than the alternatives that we have for it, right? Like escorting or being a sugar baby or like doing OnlyFans or porn or stuff like that. Like gold digging is actually like the one of like valor and honor and nobility, right?
Yeah. You still have to commit to the relationship.
Yeah, because it's like you're at least, I mean, you're basically going all in on one bag, right? As opposed to going a little bit in on a bunch of other bags, but it has like massive potential upside as like an investment strategy. And so, I mean, it's true, obviously, that like you can wind up getting fucked if you gold dig and you pick like the wrong guy, and he winds up either like not like if he like financially abuses you or like otherwise abuses you, or he's evil, or he doesn't make money, or like it all goes away or something like that. It's
that's
all
just
bad.
a skill issue, though,
right? But that's literally like if you're a good gold digger and you have good faith in your ability to secure this. And like people were saying like, oh, well, but it's not guaranteed that you're going to get money if you gold dig. And it's like, if you're a gold digger and you're not guaranteeing that you're getting money in the case of a divorce, like you fucking suck at this.
You fucking suck.
Like that's also like step one.
There's so many laws now with that. There's so many laws now with that where it's like, it's become so easy just to get the money.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, there are obviously ways that you can get financially mogged out of it if they have like a billionaire family that wants to protect like inheritance, but like you still get what your husband had, right? Like you might not get the trickle down from his like billionaire relatives, but like if you set everything up from the beginning as a good gold digger should, you're not going to be fucked out of everything.
Listen,
and it's also like it's just
I'm
a thing of
I'm pro gold digger. I think it's
like,
good.
I honestly I don't think it's like bad at this point. It's at least like trad, right? It's Lindy. Like gold digging is flatly Lindy.
One of the most saddest things in life is that you realize there's not as many gold diggers as you were promised. You know, you were like, I want to get successful. I got a hot girl. It's surprisingly not as common as you might think. You might. I
know. I'm fucking. I can't think of a single girl. Well, there's been one girl, I guess.
Yeah, there's just one. We know one.
One girl that I've talked to in the last like fucking 5 years that's given like a single shit about like actual earning potential.
Yeah, they like the potential. Well, like the charisma. Oh, not the charisma. Like your characteristics of a person who has earning potential. They don't really care about the actual earnings.
Well, that was the other really funny thing for me to realize is I don't know how much the average girl is capable of like or like maybe it's just a thing of the functionality. Like how much does it functionally matter that you're giving them? Like let's say you are a multimillionaire, but you like never give the girl any sort of trickle down from that. Versus you make like $50K a year, but you like spoil her. I think the second girl feels like you're richer.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't think there's anything that you can do that really like changes that, right? Like you can tell them an infinite number of times, oh yeah, like this is you know, I actually look at my bank account, like the number there is bigger, but like unless it gets converted into some sort of like measurable increase in quality of life, what does it really mean to them?
They don't really care whatsoever. I've actually heard a few people with this where there's like I dated a guy who was like rich or like I've seen his money and he just never bought me shit or like took me out. And they're like that's just as bad as him being poor, which is like, you know, you should spoil your girl to some degree. Obviously at the same time, you know, women a little bit frivolous with the money. So you gotta
they get real fucking bad.
They get real frivolous, bro. You gotta give I understand. Listen, every girl's like, I want a guy to give me a credit card. I actually very pro that strap because it's like then you can control very clearly how much they can spend, right? If you have like, you know,
not if it's a fucking credit card, bro. I mean, you can put a credit limit on it, but
yeah, the credit limit. No, not unlimited card. You give them like a credit limit, like it's like they're like, okay, you get 10K and I'll pay it off every month. Now you know she's not going to blow 100K, right? You know, whatever it's in your range. Obviously, if you can only afford like 2K, then you give her the 2K card. But I'm saying you can give her the card, then she feels the freedom of it, even if the limit is like, you know, a little bit, you know, low. I think you give a girl a 5K credit card a month. I mean, I would imagine you need like a decent amount of money for that, but like that, like 60K doesn't bother you. But it's not like a super high number in all things being considered. Maybe give her a 3K credit card if you're poorer. I feel like with like a 100K salary, you could give a girl a 2K credit card. Just be like, I'm paying it off every month. 20% of your salary, like you won't really miss that. Anyway, this is just I've actually thought about this before. I was like, I would give my wife just a credit card and just like, here's your money.
I have noticed that the amount of generosity financially I exhibit towards women is like very, very related to how much I like them. And this is another one of those things that like, because I just thought that I was like stingy fucking Jew guy for a long time. And it's like, oh no, like I actually am willing to be like a little generous, but like it's just a thing of affection, I guess.
Yeah, I have to actually care. Which is like girls, like, you know, they don't necessarily have the conscious awareness that it's correlated to affection, but they
is,
know.
Right? They do know that there's a level of like, if you can do it and you're not doing it, there's a reason.
Yes, exactly. And it's typically, I don't really like you that much. And you know, you just gotta accept that. You can get your game up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need some like regular BJs or something.
I mean, I guess I wonder how much of like how many guys out there paying for like sugar babies or something like don't actually like the girls.
Most of them, they're not like, the sugar baby is more of a visual status or like an attention thing. Usually they don't like them that much.
Huh.
Yeah,
I've always wondered how that works. But yeah, I do think that's like getting back to what I was saying before about like gold digging versus like OnlyFans or whatever. Like it is, it's sort of like right hand versus left hand path, where I think like gold digging is a right hand path, and because it's actually like a long-term investment strategy wherein you're selecting a guy that you think is going to over the years, like by the time you're 50 or something, accrue like massive generational wealth for like you and your kids, right? Like it obviously has an extreme upside. If you hit it home, especially if you get in early, you really lock like you lock a big investment down right there if you do it right. And then like the sugar babying strategy is like you get like an allowance, right? You get like,
yes, and it's really not even that much. Like,
right, it's like you're gonna get like what, like fucking like 2, 5, 10K a month or something. Like
no, it's not even that much. Like 99% of people, because I have experience with these girls, and I've seen like what they get.
I would say, but yeah, go
on. If you on a high end, like, well, not like the highest you would see like these super rich girls, but like 99%, like top 1 percentile is like you get $500 a time you see them, so maybe 2K a month. It's like, that's less than I spent on a girlfriend, and I don't even have that much money.
That's right? Super funny.
That's like a normal relationship is more profitable.
Because that was something that I wondered about. Is every time I've heard these people talking about like the amounts that they're getting, it's been like, you know, like it doesn't feel like it should be enough for these people to be like selling their souls essentially.
Yes, but the thing is, the people who sugar baby, and I've noticed this quality in them, they have a status anxiety that like they're not able to just be their age and be like poor or work up to whatever they're trying to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so the immediate gratification of you're giving me the $1,000 so I can buy the bag that I want, that my parents are no longer buying me because I'm at the age I'm supposed to be self-sufficient to some degree, because their parents often will still buy them shit, but they like put it in a limitation. It's just they need they don't want to like drop class to like I'm newly graduated or whatever. And and it's always those girls who like can't handle it.
No, I 100% agree with that. They've all been really sickeningly status hungry to the point where it's like the most insane form of middle class striverdom that I've ever seen.
Absolutely,
like,
dude.
Yeah, it's just not something that makes sense to see from, you know, like somebody who's actually like got it locked away and they've got it settled and they know that they don't have to worry about money because their family's like fairly wealthy or something. Does not ever engage in this stuff. And they
but yeah, I think it's like the insecurity of it, of like some part of their identity is I have money, and if they don't have money they can't fucking throw. I mean, yeah, not to get too personal on this one with my experience on this, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, it never even made sense to me with this girl that I knew. I'm like, I know your parents have money. I've seen it. I know for a fact. I've seen your house. I've seen this, that, and the other thing. I've seen the business your dad has. How is this even a thing? But she fortunately was very self-aware, but she was just like, yeah, it was effectively the same thing. It's like status anxiety. I require a certain level of,
I must live a certain way, but like the horror version, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The BAP quote being repurposed for prostitution. And I'm not using whore in a derogatory way.
No, the literal way.
Literally the whore way.
I would never besmirch a normal woman by calling her a whore. Whores actually work. Sorry.
I wonder how much of like the sugar babying escort shit winds up just being like whoring, because there has to be
most of it.
That's what I assumed, right?
Yeah. So the thing is, like, so this is the one thing from the girl I knew. She did explain it. She was actually fairly good at like manipulation generally, and she actually had a bunch of books on this shit. And she's like, so the real way you're supposed to do it is like indefinitely extend the whoring part. Eventually, you have to cave in because they're going to be like ultimatum you. But you can basically indefinitely extend the actual prostitution part.
So basically just lead them along until they finally say, listen, I'm like, we have to fuck or I'm going away.
Yes. And typically speaking, with those people, the people who have a lot of money, they can wait a lot longer, obviously, because they have delayed gratification in life anyway to get that money. And typically, it's the people who are like who do it very early.
Judging a sugar baby's clientele based on his time preference, so you can gauge how much. It's like a psychologist, right? Where they're trying to pick the insane client who's most unlikely to ever be fixed, because they're like, oh, I'm in it for life, man.
Unironically, the girl I knew who was a sugar baby is literally becoming a therapist and has multiple degrees towards that.
A lot of that happens, I've noticed.
Yes, it does.
It seems that there's like in terms of therapy, you get maybe like 1 out of 10 who are like normal, sane people with like stable marriages, and then 9 out of 10
are crazy.
They're people with like a more fucked up like past than ours.
Yes, which is why like,
I'm here to normalize you, and it's like I don't think exposure to you is going to be helping that any, man.
This is largely why I do not like therapy. It's that you're talking to crazy very very few of them are sane. But anyway, so you can indefinitely delay it. However, most of the girls doing sugar babying by its very nature do not know how to delay gratification. Ergo, they cannot get their person to delay the gratification, so they're just whores. So it's
so funny. So their goal obviously is to delay the whoring, but they just don't.
Yeah, because either they're not interesting enough as a person, right? Or they can't provide the social value of like status of like, I'll take you to go with you to the ballet and and fit in there. And they're like physiognomy is literally whore. So it's like the guy's like, either we do this or we don't, because like you're not really satisfying that niche. If you can portray yourself in that status seeking way, in the status like way that they're looking for, the status signifier, then they're okay with it and they'll delay the gratification. However, most of them can't, and that kind of is the whole deal.
So what's your read on the correlation between how quickly a girl fucks you and like whether or not she's a whore? Do you think that exists at all as a connection, or does it not?
Actually, I don't think it necessarily does. However, in practice, it does. So for me, I feel like, because I guess I'm egoistic. To me, I view if you hook up with me very quickly that I'm just the fucking greatest, and how could you resist?
Right. And this is my problem also, right? And I think every guy is a little bit susceptible to this. It's not like, oh, like she's not a whore. I'm just so based, dude.
I'm just so based. And then if you make me wait for a while, like in a sufficiently long time, I think like 6 weeks or so is probably a number that like
that's
if you make that's the number I will do mentally. It's not explicitly, but if you did that, then those girls I've always dated, because I'm already like mentally invested. So in practice, I don't care. I typically respect the person who doesn't hook up with me on the first date. You can do it second though. I'm perfectly okay with that. I'll accept the second, even a third. I'm an old fashioned man. But the girls who've made me wait like, the fifth date or something, I've stuck around longer than I probably would have, just on basis of I was like, I was, put me through some. I'm invested now.
That is like an interesting thing that I've heard happen to guys where the girl, like they're not even really that interested in the girl, but then she just won't have sex with them, and so they kind of stick around, which must be really frustrating on the girl's end because like she's doing everything right. She's making him wait to make sure he's not just there for sex. And then, like, finally, after 10 weeks, she caves, and then the guy gets it.
But that's the thing.
He goes
This
away.
Is bell curve, right? The guy who's going to wait, I think it's more often than not, like, I think there's a sweet spot. That's why I'm thinking 6 weeks, maybe it's 4, something like that. Because if you do it too long,
flat out say that has just never happened to me. I have. I'm trying to think of a time where it wasn't the first hangout, and I fucking cannot, man. No. There was one girlfriend I had where it was, but it was like a me thing, right? Like I didn't even fucking kiss her until like the like 6th time that we went on a date. Like it was just because I hadn't had a girlfriend for like the 2 years before this because I spent like a long time being like a monk essentially in the latter half of college. And I was so like, I was just like, I don't know how to girls anymore. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
I feel that.
So it wasn't even like I'm waiting out of some like purity or virtue thing. I was like, I don't fucking remember how to kiss women. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to embarrass myself.
Listen, I've been there.
And then when I did kiss her, do you know what happened?
You instantly fucked.
We slammed our noses into each other, and like she like dropped her gum out of her mouth. It was fucking horrible. It was this uncoordinated double fumble from both of us. We like giggled about it, I guess, but in retrospect, just poor performance, poor showing. D-, D-, D-.
Well, here's the thing. This is what I'm thinking. I think it's a bell curve because for me, it's the girls who make me wait if too long. I grow resentful, and then I just want to do it out of spite, right? So I think that's, and I'm like a very patient person not in some things, like in the one with women, I'm patient. I'm not patient on everything else. So like for me, I'm like, if I'm growing resentful after like this long, I guarantee that other guys growing resentful much sooner. So I think like you start to weed out a bunch of people and you only are left with the people who are like 9 out of 10 of them are like there to sport fuck. And like who want the chase and they're like excited to have gotten it.
I can't like, I see the whole thing as like too much of a power game. So if any girl decided to like that she didn't want to, my response would just be the same.
Yes, that's fair.
Like it's like the thing where, like if a girl was to like try and withhold sex in a relationship, I would just say, okay.
Oh, but that's different. In that sense,
and then I would just petty. Not like, I would not like, like I effectively like, okay, I don't care about sex anymore now. We're gonna like I'm you're doing this thing to try and like play the game with me, but I'm better at it than you. And I'm going to make you feel like I do not give a shit about you in terms of sexuality, right? Like I'm going to beat you at your own woman tactic.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. In a relationship, I am very petty in that sense as well. But I think with like the chase of the dating, I'm willing to like see what chest opening are you using, Yeah. Are we doing like a stall? Are we doing like
for our like 3 female listeners, the best tactic that
we have 10% female listeners on Spotify, by the way.
Really? Okay.
Yes, we have 100 female listeners.
So for our 100 female listeners,
at least
that's a lot of fucking.
It's a lot of female women. We have a lot more followers now than we used to.
That's crazy. Well, okay. So for all of our 100, it sounds so dubious. It sounds so fake. Anyway. For our whatever number of female listeners, the most effective tactic that I ever got was a girl on the first date who she like had like a weird breakdown and like curled up into the fetal position and was like, I don't know what to do. Like everyone tells me that like if I let you have sex, that you're gonna like go away and you're gonna think worse of me. And I was like, oh, that's fair. Like if you're worried about that, like you don't have to do anything. And she just sat there like mentally like going through all of these sort of like neurotic decision trees in her mind about stuff. And I was just like, yeah, like we can just like kiss or whatever. I'm fine. And eventually she decided, no, we were going to do it. And that was right. And that was probably the best tactic that I've ever gotten from a girl in terms of like,
well, that played into your ego. That's the thing. If you play into the ego, you win.
At least. I don't know if it was faked. I don't know if it was faked. Maybe it wasn't a tactic, but
it's like when girls reach for the check. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
If you're in if they're in their apartment or vice versa, it's faked resistance. They already agreed in like whatever. I don't know how the fucking.
Well, see, that was the other thing
involved.
that was interesting about this situation is it was one where it wasn't her place. Like we were in some we had basically been forced into a room together, and
oh yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah, by just like the
so maybe
like
it's real. That one's
decisions.
Real. That sounds like real resistance. I say, for me,
I do also probably think it was. I think she was a very good girl.
Yeah,
and I do think it was real resistance.
For me, I think the most effective tactic has been, you want to keep me around, is not the first date. I would say, yeah, not the first date, but like date 3. I'm a traditional kind of guy. You do it on date 3, it's like, okay, you respect the rules, like the old rules.
The old fashioned, the Trad and Lindy
rules.
third date.
The Trad and Lindy third date, I respect every single time. I'm like, okay, you like the classics. I'm here for that. Though I did get the 2 relationships I had that were the longest. One was the second date, but she was older than me, and it was so funny because we had like a normal date, then we went to like a Vietnamese restaurant or some shit. It's like 3 p.m. and she's like, "Oh, come with me. I have to take my bike home." And I was like, "Oh, great! This is great. Daytime." And then we went out afterwards. It was great.
See,
get the tension off the table.
I think listening to your rendition of dates, I understand what's going on here and why our experiences are being so different across this front. Is
why
you're having normal dates, and when I have a date with a girl and I actually like her, like if I don't like her, I wind up just sort of going away. And it's like I won't like try and have sex with her or whatever. I'll just like cut it short and end it. And if I do like her, it winds up being like some sort of 12 to 48 hour like extended thing where like both of us totally blow off all of our obligations and we spend like the next however long together.
Oh, that's very passionate and romantic. That's why they
right. It's the love bombing, right?
The love bomb. I don't do that. I do like a very like
I don't intend to do it. It's just
here I'm like time and place.
Dude, you know me. I have strange taste in women. So when you finally find one who fits it, you're like, wow, this one fucking rocks, dude.
Yes. You like the love bomb. I'm more of a classic kind of guy. I'm like, I'll meet you at this time and place. We spend the evening together, whatever. And then I'll see you in like a week or so. And if we after 2 of them, if we have a great time, it's like, all right, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I like a good old fashioned date. But I think it's actually the only reason I like the date, I think, is because I had the most success with the date in college. Because it's like what
normal people do, right?
No, I actually, every girl is like, not every girl, but a lot of girls are like, now that there's like apps, I guess a lot of girls go on more dates. But back then when there were not apps, girls were like more willing to go out with me just because I asked them on like a real date. And I guess I just stuck with that. Now it's
instead of like the coffee date, the walk date. Do you want to go to the grocery store and get a melon and we can cut it in the park?
But yeah, like I like meet a girl at like the club or the bar or whatever.
I'm mocking myself, by the way. This is like the number of times I've fucking wound up with a girl at a grocery store on like the first date is like, and a lot of the time we start there actually because
that's actually a good idea. That's simulated marriage. You want to do that?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's like a psychological trick that some of the fucking Rizzers used to do.
The Rizzers, the PUA boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's never like an intentional thing as much as like either I'll want to cook or they'll want to cook or something, and it'll be like 5 a.m. and no place will be open. We'll be like just wandering around, and I'll be like, "What do you like to eat?" She'll be like, "I don't know. What do you like to eat?" And we're doing some funny like, which one of us is more of like a freak? Because I tend to talk.
You have weird tastes.
Weird diet. Like food. I will go and I will find like the one girl in the entire state who has like California tier dietary restrictions, and I'll be in like fucking Oklahoma or something, right? Like the one girl who's like I'm reading like the labels and shit like that.
Yeah. I think for me, see, that's the thing too, though, is that you have people, my behavior, I'm how do I phrase it? I'm like kind of people like let their guard down, but they assume I'm trying to be manipulative. Even though I'm too lazy to be manipulative, I'm like not Machiavellian at all. So girls would never never in my entire life would any girl like let me cook for them on the first date. They would never even come. Let's say like we're trying to hook up with me. They would not come over my place. They because they assume I'm being mischievous.
When mischievous I'm being in what way?
Well, I have like a trickster energy to me. You do too, but
I was gonna say, bro, I think I have more of the trickster.
But here's
energy.
The thing: you have like a direct trickster energy, right? You
like
seem
I'm
like you're
upfront about it. I tell them,
yeah.
I'm gonna tell them the magic trick before I perform it.
Yes, exactly. Whereas I behave very normally, but people have an implicit idea that I'm kind of trickster, or like, or they can tell that I know how to manipulate and I just choose not to, and that makes them more wary of me, right? And I, however, am not Machiavellian. I can tell when I could do it, but I just literally don't have the patience for it. So consequently, a lot of them will not come over for like a first date to like let me cook for them or whatever, which would get me the girl because I'm fucking great cook, by the way.
Yeah, Verse made me a really good burger one time. All I know for sure that shit was flame.
Yeah, dude, I can throw down in the kitchen. But anyway, so
there's so many different levels of good cooking also, right? Like
true.
You know, like I'll have dealt with like you know, like you'll be with some girl and you're like, oh, she's a good cook, and then you like go to the next one and she's like tossing out like French fucking like deglassing techniques, and you're like,
yes,
oh,
I'm not
like
that
this
level.
is, and then you go and there's another one. And she's like fucking, you know, like just preheating like 87 things at the same time and doing all this like simultaneous meal prep and referencing like all of these different like cuisines from like 18 different countries. And like you see her, like anytime she uses a chef's knife, you're just like, this is such like an extremely practiced motion. I can tell she's been doing it since she was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, like again, another level of good cooking, right? Like I've been exposed to so fucking much just like mind-blowing normal, like from just like normal fucking people, and you're like, are you like a chef? Like, did you spend time? And no, like I just like this stuff. What the
I hate cooking, but I have a sense for what tastes good, so I can replicate that. But my meals are simple. Even if I make something a little more elaborate, like, you know, some truffle pasta or some shit, I don't know, it's not even that hard. But if I did something like that, it would still be like comfort food. I'm good at comfort food. That's
yeah, I mean,
simple
when
meals
I
that don't
cook
take
for
a long
myself,
time.
it's very rare. Like if you get me to go to the grocery with a list of more than 10 things, like you have really gone above and beyond.
Absolutely not. I have a strict 5 ingredient limit. I don't fuck with that.
Yeah, and then you're with like one of these cooking girls, and she'll like, oh well, we need to get like, and then it's like a 20.
Bro, when a bitch is like,
let's get some, and you're like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, dude, the spice list. When the bitch is like,
but the shit is good.
Time.
The shit is good,
organic
man.
Thyme.
The shit is so fucking good.
She's like, oh, you didn't get any parsley? What if a bitch wants parsley? I'm like, oh, this shit's about to be flame. She's like, oh yeah, check to see if the fucking, I don't know, if the thyme or the rosemary's good. I'm like, okay, you're dealing with sprigs.
Right, she's checking like the level of aromatics in in like the bottle itself. Like she's fucking taking the plastic seal off of the wrap and like smelling to make sure, because she knows, she can tell which basil leaves aren't fucked up based on the aromatics.
See? That's what I need. I like a girl who can do that. Those are the girls who are good at presentation. Like my ex made the prettiest eggs I've ever seen in my entire life. My first job was cooking eggs at like a restaurant, so I can cook some eggs. I've never seen in my entire fucking life eggs this pretty in my entire life. So now I do it her way. And I was like, wow. So some girls can do the presentation. Some girls can make it taste good, but it's going to look like shit. I like those girls too. You know, really what we're saying is, girls, you should be cooking for men. I don't know why it's become this like status symbol to not cook for men. Maybe this is one of the faults of feminism, I suppose. But like, it's so easy. Just cook for guys and they're in. You don't even have to do that much. Girls are like, what do I talk about? What do guys like? Just cook a fucking meal. You're in. You're so in. Girls don't cook anymore. I haven't been cooked for by a girl who I wasn't like officially dating, probably ever. You know?
Another funny tactic though, as the guy, is because like I'm a very like utilitarian cook, right? As you might imagine.
Yes, I don't know if you would call it cooking. It's like eating,
right?
You're a utilitarian eater.
Well, it's like a utilitarian. Like I heat the food and then I eat it and then I heat. Well, I guess I would also say that whatever you saw me do at your place was not. I
don't know, bro. That sounds like you, dude. You have a peanut drawer. You know,
I do have a peanut drawer.
You eat the coconuts. You eat the fucking mango. Like you seem like a very
at Versus place. I basically fucking took like a piece of liver and then I would like put it in a pan and toss like a bunch of salt on it, and then like as soon as it looked like it was like cool enough to like bite, I would like rip it off and like start eating it, and then toss another one in the pan. And
so also, how do you make sure you tell them that you only cook one side of it?
That's so
you
true.
sear one side of it.
I sear one side of it, and the other half was like totally raw. It's probably like 2/3 raw. I don't know. I've never done the full volumetric breakdown of which of the enzymes have actually been fucking what's the term?
Denatured.
Denatured. There we go. That was embarrassing, man.
Yeah, I know.
I always forget that one.
Denatured.
But yeah. So that was not. I don't know. I've been making a lot of soups lately, but then again, also I make the soups, and some fucking girl will just be like, "Oh, well, like you should be sautéing like the vegetables beforehand, and like searing the meat." And it's like I do some of this stuff, but there's a level of
the
prep
fucking
that
sear the meat before you put it in the stew thing. Get the fuck out of here. I've seen that before. Where they're like, if I was making like a beef stew, they're like, you got to sear the beef and then you put it in the stew to slow cook or whatever. No, like it's cooking in the stew. I'm not doing it. I don't care that much.
It's mostly just that it requires an entire like additional step, right? Like the thing when I make stew or soup, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a bunch of shit and I'm gonna toss it in a big pot, right? Like that's my mentality is like I'm going to take like 40 pounds of food and I'm gonna put it in this pot and I'm not gonna think about cooking for like a week, right? Like everything is done. Everything is done. So the idea that I'm gonna now start off and that already like it takes so much time because you have like unironically like over like 40 pounds of vegetables to chop. Which like there's no way you can do it that doesn't take some amount of time to do that. But then you have like the meat thing too, and you're like, okay, after chopping all that, I've got to fucking heat the pan up, I gotta get the oil out, like and then you have to wait for it to and it's like you've got to be
you could do the
like,
thing that people do with like pressure cookers, where you get the pressure cooker started so that the thing is hot, and then put the meat in on the hot bottom, and then add the broth and stuff while you're later. That's what I've been I've never done that before, but that's what I've seen people do.
I will say though, the searing shit does actually make it taste a lot better.
Does it really?
It does.
Fuck. This is like when I had to like start using my toaster oven for shit, and I'm like, I've had it for a long time. I would say
do it for once, and then see if it's worth it to you, and then because like there's some times where like now that I know how much better it tastes, I can like objectively quantify whether or not I care that much.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes I'll just be like, it's not worth it. Like it's not worth. Like I'm fucking tired of chopping vegetables. I want to go to bed. Fuck this. And other times it's like, oh, I'm really fancy soup for the next week.
Yeah. All right. So when a girl comes over, then you sear the beef. That's all it is.
Yeah. It's when she comes over. You gotta.
Yes. For myself, we keep it simple, but
because I don't think there's a single girl on this planet that won't like cringe as fuck if you don't sear that beef.
Yeah. The bitches are fucking. They have high standards, dude. You don't sear the beef. You don't fucking properly julienne the carrots. It's over, dog. That's
what I was about to tell you is like the way that most girls wind up cooking for me is not necessarily because I say, yo, bitch, fucking cook for me. Like it's because I start cooking and they're like, no, no. Because I skip several integral, like, you know, like the woman steps, like the searing the beef, which are like, you know, it's also like, you know, male chefs would probably shoot me in the head for it also. I just don't really
know. But these are
how many times do I interact with male chefs?
Women give a fuck. Like male chefs, like because even when I watch actually a lot of male chef videos on TikTok, and a lot of them will be like, "Oh, you're doing this, then that wrong." I'll still eat the fuck out of that because the male brain is like, "This probably still tastes good." Girls are like, "Oh, the carrots are chunked too big." The potatoes, like
they're really perfectionists with cooking uniquely in a way that they aren't necessarily with other things.
Yeah, that's why it's their job to be in the kitchen and listen. And they're fighting God and nature when they defiantly reject.
So if you had like an unlimited amount of money, would you hire a maid or a chef first?
Chef, absolutely. I hate cooking.
Same.
Yeah, maid. I'll clean them. Yeah, fuck that. Absolutely a chef. Though it's much cheaper to buy a maid. So like,
that's also what I was thinking. Because I followed this guy who was basically like a chef / bodybuilder who got basically bought out by some like billionaire guy who's like now paying him like a massive like fucking like 9-figure salary or something to come around, go everywhere with him, do all of his shopping and cooking and whatever. For him and all of his friends and whatever, and he's now basically like recreated like a permanent restaurant experience. Like his life is like a maxed out Michelin star, just everywhere he goes. And I was like, I probably am not going to be able to afford that guy anytime soon. But like, that's something that like if you want to replicate that, you probably have to like train someone into it, don't you?
Yeah. I mean,
like you're going to have to groom someone into being your personal live-in chef.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like unless you want to pay like exorbitant amounts of money, you can get the live. I mean, you can get people to do it though. I mean, like I think there's probably nowadays, I'm sure that you could pay like a flat rate, like come to the spot, kind of like catering. Probably pay catering rate but like even cheaper if it's just for yourself. But I don't really know. I'm not in this world.
I wonder if it would even wind up being cheaper than a restaurant.
On the long tail, probably, honestly.
It's probably like the thing with Uber where if you just hire the Uber out for like 4 hours or you just rent the car for a day, like you just get a rental car. This is also what we should be fucking doing for these crypto things, by the way. Every time we go, we're like, okay, we're going to be in California. We're going to be doing some big, annoying, like, we're going to be Ubering like every 20 minutes or something. We should just fucking rent a car.
We should just rent a car. We're not going to do it though.
We're not going to do it, but I'm saying
we all want to be fucked up.
We're going to look back on this and we're going to say it was fucking stupid of us, and we would have saved $10,000 over the last 4 days.
What we need to do is rent a fleet of Uber drivers to like fucking chauffeur everyone around, and then they get tips on that, and then we don't have to wait. Probably the same exact idea, but maybe we could split the cost or something, like 20% finder's fee.
Yeah,
some shit.
Finder's fee.
I don't know. Some managerial stuff. Some rent seeking.
From rent seeking?
Yeah. But I think I'm fried.
I'm fried as shit. As soon as you were, I was like, dude, I am so
I'm fucking dead.
So fucking. I've been fried from the get go, dude. I don't even know. We got an hour and a half of this. That's fucking insane. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to talk for more than like 30 minutes.
I figured.
So true though. Yeah, I thought once we got into it, of course we can talk forever.
An hour, I can feel like an hour can be done by either of us very easily. Once it gets over the hour, I have to have actual energy in the tank.
Yeah, and I do not have any energy. I'm definitely going, and I'm going to be going to the grocery store after this. And now that we've been talking about cooking the whole time, I kind of want to go and make the seared stew.
Yeah, might as well. The night's still young.
The other thing is, I don't know what's been getting into me, dude, but there's been a lot of cantaloupe sales, and I fucking love cantaloupe. I've literally been having like 4 cantaloupes a day. I just sit there slicing I'm literally spending like 2 hours a day eating cantaloupes.
That sounds
slicing them up, taking the seeds out. I don't know, dude. The way that I eat is actually like
it's very alarming, dog.
Dude, this is
monocropping, bro.
This is a comment that I've gotten from basically every girl I've ever talked to. Is like it's basically just like a caveman, right? Like I'll cook a steak and then I'll have like a T-bone steak with someone, and then I will eat everything off of the bones and rip, like, how the bones have that like layer of there's like a layer of
the marrow inside, or like
no, but like on top of the bone there's
the gristle, like the little gristle.
Yeah, and I'll fucking like rip that off.
I like the tendons and whatever the fuck connects to the bone. That shit is great.
Yeah, I got a compliment actually. The girl who cooked it was like, "Wow, like this is epic. It's awesome to see somebody like your cooking so much that they're willing to do what you're doing right now. Like as a chef, this is basically the biggest compliment you can ever get." And I was like, I'm glad.
Yeah, that's you.
I'm glad that you're right. Like I'm glad that you're taking my like extreme lack of manners and just generally like weird homeless man behavior to be like this positive, right? There's a lot of negative interpretations that you could have had, and I'm glad that you overlooked them all.
I love when girls have rose-colored glasses. It's really awesome. That's one of their best qualities.
Oh, this wasn't even like this wasn't even like a romantic prospect or anything. This was like they were just like a girl who was like a friend, and yeah, it was funny.
Girls are great for that. All right,
because nobody else finished all the food. I was the only one.
That's cringe. And then fucking losers.
And then I finished everybody else's fucking food who didn't finish theirs, and I cleaned every plate, and I started eating all of their T-bones.
How do you not finish a steak? I don't understand that. That's fucking. You should. If in my caliphate, bro, you get fucking beheaded, I guess.
Well, the group of people there was like a very thin woman, very thin guy on some medication that makes you not want to eat, and a very small woman.
Cringe.
I was the only normal sized person in that room. That's not true.
The people who just move food around their plate, I can't stand it. It drives me crazy.
I do think it's really fucking, or like when somebody has like a spoon and they refuse to ever fill the spoon up more than like 1/3 of the way. Like they'll be eating soup and you see them just like filling the bottom of the spoon, and you're sitting there just like clenching your fists, like steam coming out of your ears. Your whole fucking face is turning red. There's like a whistling going on from all the air going out of your eardrums.
Brutal, fucking brutal. I can't deal with the people who eat like the I don't know. We have we done ED discourse? I can't do it anymore. We've done this before.
We done ED discourse before?
Not at length, but I don't know if I have the
That's so
wherewithal
true.
to do
Like
it right now.
I definitely, this is definitely something that we have to go over, but like I don't have the bandwidth right now mentally to do it justice.
We'll get them. We've been recording weekly, so we, you know,
yeah.
The people,
and it is a subject that both of us fucking have intimate experience with.
Yes. So we will get to ED discourse, and we promise you guys. We gave you BPD discourse. ED discourse is next.
The TLDR for all those of you who maybe are going to miss next week's episode for some sort of like heinous reason, is just don't fucking deal with it. Like unironically, eating disorders are just like an instant like break for me. Like it's like a do not pass go, do not collect $200. Like it's just, it's not worth it.
Absolutely. Definitely.
And they're comorbid with everything.
Yes, that's the real thing.
Like you never find an eating disorder in solidarity. It's always attached to at least one other mental illness that you probably haven't noticed yet, and both of them are going to like alternate, right? Like you're going to be
the ED. You can notice day one.
Yes,
it can save you many issues. I promise.
Yes, and it's very very fucking obvious once you've dealt with it once. You will never be like
you'll never forget it. Yeah,
it's never gonna fucking catch you with your pants down again.
Yeah, girls are like, oh, but I just don't eat a lot. Like the normal chicks, they're like, oh, no, it's not you. We know the difference between like, there's a stark difference in the behavior of how they deal with food. It's not just like, I'm not that hungry.
A lot of them now have started to realize that like, because it's like, I mean, we're talking about like BPD being like a red flag and stuff. And like, I basically consider EDs to be like as big of a fucking red flag as BPD is at this point. And I think girls are starting to know. Like, I think they're starting to notice because they'll try and hide it and they'll say a bunch of stuff like, oh, like, no, it's not like, I'm not like restricting how much I eat. Like, I just am like this. And like, it's like, I don't know, dude.
I don't know. I've seen this. I've seen these signs.
I've heard this story before, man. I've seen these signs. Like, it seems like your hair is pretty thin there.
Yes, the thinning of the hair.
Dude, the hair,
the one.
It's absolutely the one too. And there's
spot them in a crowd, you're like, oh, okay, this is what we're dealing with.
Right. It's like, why is my hair thicker than yours, bro? Like, I'm fucking like, like we're at Norwood 7 here and I got more fucking hair on my head than this bitch. What is going on? Like, exactly. The fucking, the most horrifying is like, you take them back. Everyone starts like de-dressing for the day. She fucking takes out the hair extensions and like the hair itself, you're like, 75% of it comes out, and you're like, what fucking the fuck?
It's so over. Oh my god, that sounds horrible. Yeah. Well, guys, we're gonna have to call this one.
We will do full. We should write this down. We're gonna mark this down. Actually, next time. We're
on my new desk.
At your new desk, we should get our podcast intern to hit up a list of talking points for the ED discourse. I bet he knows.
Yep. All right. We end this deal.
When he gets older, he won't sound like this anymore.